For the last couple of years, we've gotten really good at talking to AI, right? We ask it questions, we have it write our emails, we get it to dream up some wild images. But what if AI could do more than just talk? What if it could actually start doing things for us? Well, that's the massive shift we're diving into today. Just think about your own to-do list for a second. Imagine you ask an AI to plan a trip. But instead of just giving you a list of ideas, it goes out, finds the best flight, books it for you, reserves the perfect hotel, and then drops the entire itinerary right into your calendar, all on its own. That's the game-changing idea behind what we're calling Agentic AI. So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, simply put, Agentic AI is a system that can understand a goal, break it down into a bunch of smaller steps, and then this is the key part, actually use tools to get it done. We're talking about tools like your calendar, a web browser, or even company software. You know, it's the difference between an assistant who just hands you a recipe and a chef who actually gets in the kitchen and cooks the meal for you. And listen, this isn't some far-off science fiction dream. It's happening right now. The groundwork is being laid as we speak, and the first huge deployments are already rolling out. We're seeing this whole thing move from little experiments to full-on industrial-scale applications. The era of the AI doer has officially arrived. But hang on, before we have millions of these agents booking our trips and running factory floors, they all need to speak the same language. They need a common set of rules. And that's where the really crucial foundational work comes in. It's like building the plumbing that's going to make this whole revolution possible. And this is a really big deal. The Linux Foundation, which is this super trusted, neutral player in the open source world, has just created something called the Agentic AI Foundation, or AIAF. Why does this matter? Because it's getting major, often competing companies to all sit at the same table under one open source roof. That's absolutely vital for building trust and making sure our AI future isn't controlled by just one or two big players. And check out what they're starting with. These initial contributions are fascinating. Anthropic's Model Context Protocol, or MCP, is basically a universal translator that helps AIs and software tools actually understand each other. Then you have Block's Goose framework, which helps developers build agents that are way more reliable. And OpenAI's specification gives coding agents a clear set of instructions. These are literally the building blocks for a new agent-friendly internet. So, why get so worked up about standards? Well, without them, we could end up in this messy world of what's called proprietary lock-in. Imagine having an AI agent from Google that just can't talk to a tool from Microsoft. It kills innovation, it limits your choices. The big goal here is to create an open world where your agents are portable, they're trustworthy, and they can work seamlessly across any platform you want. All right, so with that foundation getting built, let's look at how this stuff is already being put into practice. And we're talking about some truly massive deployments here. The theory is fast becoming a reality, and some major companies are placing some very big bets. 30,000. Now, that's not a dollar amount. It's not lines of code. That is the number of professionals at the global consulting giant Accenture who are being trained right now on Anthropic's AI Claude. This partnership is a huge stress test for Agentic AI. I mean, they're not just playing around here. They're tackling some of the hardest problems out there. Think about modernizing ancient computer code. You know, the stuff written in old languages with zero documentation. It's the perfect complex puzzle for an AI agent to solve. And hey, if they can show a real measurable impact there and in heavily regulated industries, you can expect a massive wave of adoption to follow. And of course, the big cloud giants are building the superhighways for all these agents. Microsoft Azure is creating this unified home where different AI models can all live under one roof, making it way easier for agents to get the data they need. Meanwhile, AWS is all in on making agents more reliable using a technique called reinforcement learning. It's kind of like teaching a dog a new trick. You reward it for good behavior and you correct it for mistakes. They're basically letting these AI agents practice in a safe sandbox before they let them loose in the real world. Okay, but with all this incredible progress, there are some pretty significant risks. It is so important to look past the hype and talk about the real-world challenges, like security, transparency, and a surprising gap between all the buzz and who's actually using this stuff. Here's the thing. It's a classic double-edged sword. As we build these powerful new tools for our own teams to use, we're also kind of creating a blueprint for attackers. Every single new capability we develop for defense can be flipped and used for offense. And this quote from Trend Micro just nails it. It talks about a shift from cybercrime as a service to cybercrime as a sidekick.
Criminals won't just be buying hacking tools off the shelf anymore. Soon, they'll have their own AI sidekicks to automate their entire operation, from finding security holes to crafting super personalized phishing scams at a scale we've just never seen before.
And there's another pretty big problem: a fundamental lack of transparency. A recent Stanford report actually shows that openness in AI is, get this, declining. The average foundation model scores just 40 out of 100 on transparency. We can't trust what we can't see. And right now, most companies are keeping their data and their methods locked away in the dark. So, despite all the breathless headlines you read, this chart from Deloitte gives us a dose of reality. Only about 11% of organizations are actively using AI agents. So what's the holdup? Well, it turns out the biggest blockers aren't the AI models themselves. It's messy data, it's old legacy systems, and it's a simple lack of a clear strategy. Okay, so keeping all those realities in mind, let's pivot and look to the future. Because even with all these challenges, the applications being developed right now are, well, they're nothing short of groundbreaking, and they give us a really exciting glimpse of what's just around the corner. And you really can't get much more forward-looking than this. A startup called StarCloud recently trained a small language model on the complete works of Shakespeare in orbit, on a spaceship, on an NVIDIA H100 GPU. This is literally the first time this has ever been done. Now, this isn't just some cool party trick. It's a potential solution to some of Earth's biggest problems. I mean, imagine data centers floating in orbit, powered by near-limitless solar energy and cooled by the freezing vacuum of space. Or think about satellites that can analyze data right where they collect it without having to beam massive files back down to Earth. This completely flips the script on how we think about the future of AI. And back here on Earth, agents are already starting to reshape entire industries. In manufacturing, Siemens has an engineering copilot that lets factory engineers generate and test code just by using plain English. In e-commerce, Shopify is letting customers shop for products directly inside a conversation with an AI. And in finance, agents are being developed with their own digital wallets to handle small, audited financial tasks. This stuff is happening right now. So from open standards on the ground to AI in space, it is crystal clear that agents are going to become powerful collaborators in our work and in our lives. The whole narrative is shifting away from replacement and toward reshaping. And that brings us to the most important question of all. It's not if we're going to work with these agents, but how. Are we ready? Are we prepared to build the skills, the safeguards, and the vision to actually lead them effectively?